Hello one and all, I'm Donon151 and you're watching Part 3 Chapter 9 of my Fire Emblem 10 Hard Mode 0% Gross playthrough. In this chapter, we take a breather from the exploits of the Grail Mercenaries and shift perspectives to the Crimean Royal Knights. Yeah, remember them? This chapter reminds you they exist. Also, remember KirbymastaH? He's here too to help me commentate this map.
Local speedrunner here, it's good to be back.
Because 3-9 is our first map with the Crimean Royal Knights since Part 2, there are a few things in our preparations to take note of. First, I'll remind you that the Crimean Royal Knights are a wealthy group, and they get to flaunt their wealth in the base. Not only do they get 10,000 gold, no strings attached, and a coveted Master Crown, but the shop has the very rare offerings of an Arm Scroll, a Shine Barrier, and a copy of the Adept skill, all of which we snag up with the gold that we just got. Next, unlike in Part 2, we're allowed to move around skills, which means that we get to assign this copy of Adept to someone right away, and immediately remove Paragon from Joffrey and Astrid so that they can be transferred to Ike's army, where they will be put to better use. Lastly, we gave Marcia a bonus experience dump to level 10 so that she can promote with the Master Crown that we just obtained. Promoted Marcia is nice because having a slightly more usable flyer is always a good thing, even though her stats are kinda bad, and she is far from her glory days in Path of Radiance. Although you might think that there are better units that we can save the Master Crown for, this chapter is a real headache without the extra stats. Probably the next best candidate for the Master Crown is Calill, though this would mostly be to enable a certain cheese strategy, as Marcia is definitely the more useful long-term unit.
In this map, Bagnan wants to march to Crimea and to attack Gallia, but on the way, they're looting Crimean villages. Queen Alencia does not stand for it, so she sent the Crimean Royal Knights to stop them. In typical Fire Emblem games, bandits or thieves would be the ones burning out villages. In this map, it's the unpromoted enemy soldiers instead. The game encourages you to stop them by giving you a small bit of bonus experience for each house not on fire by the end of the map. But that's not our focus here. Honestly, you can have them all burn down and still complete the map. The real objective is to defeat the boss halberdier of Roark, who is situated in the top right corner. Roark has deceptively high stats and an annoyingly high crit chance against most of her units. He certainly ended some of my speedruns and some of my casual playthroughs. This map also features many ledges, which forces the majority of our cavalry-heavy team to snake around the entire map, requiring several extra turns to reach him. This leaves Marcia, Donved, and Calill as the only units who can cut straight to the middle section and get into the action more quickly. However, Donved and Calill take a heavy movement penalty when climbing ledges, so this leaves Marcia as a standout unit and is why Don promoted her.
We're also joined by 4 yellow partner units this time, a bit less than in Chapter 2-3, although that's probably a good thing since it makes the turns take not as long. 3 of these guys are paladins, and they pitch in chip damage, body block enemies, and extinguish houses that have been set on fire. This is nice and all, but the real star of this show is the yellow bishop, who is our only healer on this map and very important to manipulate properly. This is because the enemies here are frustratingly difficult for a group of units that haven't seen any action since Part 2, and honestly the Crimean Royal Knights just kind of suck in general. Rather than kill the enemy, for us it's good enough just to put some of them down in healing AI so that we can focus on the ones we need to kill. This included the halberdier that drops the speed wings, who Marcia baited down and one-rounded with a stun activation. The stun activation wasn't necessary because we had budgeted Donved and Calill's actions on turn 2 to finish him off, but there are so many little things in this chapter which can go wrong that I didn't bother resetting for the ideal recording. It feels like the Crimean Royal Knights were tuned to fight shitty tier 1 enemies because pretty much all of them have hit rate issues due to lacking access to forges that their money apparently can't buy, but they also face some crit from most enemies due to most tier 2 classes gaining a small amount of innate critical.
Marcia will typically be low on health from frontlining so much. In the midst of all this chaos, Astrid and Makalov ferried the yellow bishop forward so he can top on Marcia. So you could say Astrid and Makalov used physic on her. Fire Emblem AI is always a mystery to even expert players, but this bishop seems to heal whoever is lowest on health, so he'll usually prioritize Marcia. Marcia is going to have to tank 3 enemies, including a steel bow sniper. This sniper normally prevents players from throwing her to the top safely, but here she has a nullify skill equipped to negate her flying weakness. Lastly, on this enemy phase, Joffrey baited over an important short spear halberdier. During preps, Don checked this halberdier's stats for 2 things. 1. He needs to roll low defense. Joffrey and Astrid have to hit him 3 times for a combined kill, which requires him to roll low defense. 2. He needs to roll bad or worst biorhythm. This is a reliability buffer for Joffrey, as Joffrey himself is in worst biorhythm, and is using a 55-hit short spear. In this scenario, Joffrey has to land 2 82% displayed hit rates, but if the halberdier rolled better biorhythm, the hit rate jumps down to the 60s. Astrid, though, has no trouble hitting him, as she's at best Biorhythm and has 100 hit. Killing him is important because he would otherwise be in range of Calill on the next turn and then murder her.
So on turn 3 we are close enough to start engaging the boss in combat. Our plan is to hit him twice with Kalill's Meteor and twice up close with Marcia. For the sake of showing a somewhat reliable boss kill, I wanted to avoid using cheese like a low percent crit or a skill activation. If you had no compunctions about that, you could do this map even faster. It's possible to have Calill attack the boss as early as turn 2 if you took her along the bottom route. The fastest way then is to promote Calill and fish for a 2% Meteor crit. If you want to settle for 3 turns, this can look like Calill landing 2 Meteors while promoted Marcia activates Adept or Stun. But there is RNG beyond killing the boss, because I also want to find the hidden Spirit Dust in the tile above him. Whoever decided to put this here was a real asshole, because we don't have any Thief units with a boosted item finding rate. In fact, the only way to find this item is to use Marcia or to canto onto the tile with a Paladin after killing the boss. Marcia's chance to find the Spirit Dust is pretty low due to being in bad biorhythm. Before we close out Chapter 3-9 in 4 turns, we do a little bit of inventory management and take away Kalill's Meteor and Joffrey's Short Spear. They'll show up again in Chapter 3-10 as green NPC units where we don't want them using those weapons. And I hope that you'll show up there as well. I'll see you next time.
See you around!